So let's take a look at the full API for symbol tables. Now note that this API is basically one that's defined by a textbook. Not all APIs will look exactly like this, but for the sake of our discussion, for the sake of asking to implement, this is what we'll look at. All right, so I have my symbol table, right, and you can basically think that this is an interface somewhere. Symbol table has two generics, key and value. We need to have those. Then we have all of our different constructors and our different methods. So first constructor, right, that's basically just for creating a symbol table. Not a whole lot of stuff there that we care about. As long as there's a version of the constructor that's the default one that I don't need any arguments for, then I'm good to go as far as a user. Then I have, of course, my put and my get. My put and my get, right, are the ones we kind of talked about on the previous slide. And again, they're very straightforward. So I have my put, I have my get. Put takes a key and a value. Get takes a key. Let's see. So put basically, okay, so let's start with get. So for get, basically, one thing here is what happens if I do a get on a key that doesn't exist. If I do a get on a key that doesn't exist, it returns null to indicate nothing is available. This is a little bit different than what we've seen before because we're not throwing an exception. Normally, if an error occurs, we throw an exception. So here, right, we don't have that functionality. Instead, what we have is we have it returning null, which to me is a little bit iffy. There are reasons for it in the implementations, but for me, it's a little bit iffy. The other one, right, is put, and put is basically add an element to the table. What happens though is that put also, well, kind of implicitly, if we do a put on a key, if we put that value as null, then what happens is that get will return null, and it ends up being the same thing as removing it. Okay, so that we kind of have to make a mental note to ourselves. So somehow, right, put, right, if we have this special value for value, that second argument, then we may actually remove something. All right, so those are ways to add data to get data back out. Next thing is delete. So delete basically just deletes the key. Okay, so a key is deleted, basically that means it returns null over when we do a get on it. Next thing is contains. So contains checks to see whether a key is available, right? Is it actually in the table or not? Then we have is empty. So is empty, size. Those are both very easy things, right? So we've kind of looked at those before. We always have those in all the different collections, right? Stack, queue, list, whatever, just to count the number of elements. Last thing is keys, right? So this is one thing that a lot of symbol tables will provide for you. It's basically a way to look at all the keys that are available. So they may return to you something like a list, right? That's like, okay, these are all the keys I have installed on me. That way you can maybe iterate over it with a for loop and go and visit every single thing inside the symbol table. This is actually kind of hinting at one of the drawbacks in the symbol table over the array. In an array, if I want to loop over all the elements in it, I can just go from, I'm going to go do a for loop right from 0 up until the size of to just under right the size of the array, right? Pretty easy. Here, because keys can be anything, I don't have that ability, right? What I need to do is actually ask it for that set of keys and then loop over the keys that it contains. Because I don't know, right? They're not in sequential order, right? I can't just go from 0 and add up by 1 every time, right? I need to know actually what keys are available. So it's a little bit more tricky. All right, so I have some questions for you guys. So let's walk through these, and hopefully you can take a shot at, well, you need to take a shot at answering each of these, right? So make sure you pause the video as I go through these questions. All right, so first one, should a key correspond to more than one value? What do you guys think? So in this case, probably it's a bad idea. Because what would be bad, right, is if I imagine you have two get statements. So if I do this, if I have, let's say, I have a get on key A and a get again on key A, those should probably return the same things, right? It would be a bad thing if this one returned 100 and this one returned 42, okay? That's an inconsistency. All of a sudden, I don't really have a place to store stuff anymore. Things are just going to get lost, right? I'm going to put something, and I do a get, and I get back something completely different, okay? So this would be a bad idea. What I want is basically a one-to-one mapping between keys and values. That's what I want. All right. So next question here, which should be pretty obvious from what we talked about, should we allow values to be null? What do you guys think? So probably not, right? Our whole definition of an element not being there, an element being deleted, is for its value to be null. So I cannot actually allow values ever to be null because it has a special meaning, right? That null means that you have been deleted. Okay, so in this case, right, I can't tell the difference between an element that's deleted and an element. Well, I should say I can't tell the difference between a key that's been deleted and a key with a null value, right? Because that null is how I represent something that has been deleted. So here, right, I should not allow this, right? This is not a good thing, right? So I should definitely not allow that. All right, middle question. What order is the iterator return? What order? All right, middle question. What order is the iterator returned from in keys? Okay, so keys, right? You said I can look at everything that's inside of a symbol table. What order is that going to be in? Well, what do you think? So here, there isn't going to be an order, right? I don't know. There's nothing in my description here to suggest what order could be in. So it could be in the order that I insert them in. They could be in a sort order. They could be in any order, right? I don't know, okay? So this is, we want to somehow make sure, right, that we're not reading promises that aren't made, right? So it doesn't say there that keys returns anything specifically. It just says all the keys in the table. It doesn't say in ascending order or in order insert. It doesn't have anything like that. It just returns them, okay? So, who knows, right? I don't, it's unclear from the documentation, what exactly that order would be. All right, second to last question there. Should keys be mutable or immutable? What do you think? So keys should probably be immutable, because the problem is, you can imagine I do a put, right? I put something into my symbol table. If that key that I'm putting it in by is mutable, well, then that key changes. And it's like later on I'm going to come along and I'm try to do it again. I'm going to try to look something up, and all of a sudden I'm not going to be able to find it again because that key has changed, and that's no good. I need to be able to get stuff back, right? If I can't get stuff back, then it's like, why am I even storing it in there? Okay, so for me, right, that just doesn't make any sense. So I don't want to do mutable, right? Mutable is just going to be, I'm going to lose things. Immutable, right? That's perfect, right? It's like my key is always going to be the same. Right? I lock my door, I come back later, my key still works. It's not that the lock has changed or the key has changed. Okay, so here, right, I want it to be mutable. I want it to be immutable. Mutable would be very bad. All right, values. Should values be mutable or immutable? What do you guys think? So in this case, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so these things are basically, right, our values are basically in the pot, right? They're things that I've stored. As long as my key is associated with them and the key doesn't it doesn't lose access to that value, then it's fine. Right? Because my values are sort of independent, right? I'm not going to go and look for them later. I use the key to look for them. I don't really have to care, right? Are they immutable or are they immutable? So either case there, right, is fine. I don't have to worry about it, okay? So both are fine. All right, so hopefully those questions made sense to you guys. If they didn't, maybe go back and think about them a little bit again. But this is kind of how our world works. So hopefully, right, you guys have a better understanding now, basically, of this symbol table API and how it goes together.